Welcome to VisAbleBlackwoman, the podcast. My name is Janine T. Abraham, and I am your host. Thank you for listening. Appreciate you. Now, if you're watching this podcast on YouTube, do me a huge favor. Please like and subscribe because it truly does help. Now, my guest this week is the writer and director of the film One Woman, One Bra, the first place audience award for narrative at Tribeca Film Festival 2026, Vincho, Nchogu. Now, I saw One Woman, One Bra at Tribeca this year, and I was blown away. The film takes place in a rural Maasai village and centers Star, a 38-year-old happily uncoupled woman who's child-free and lives on her own home in a beautiful piece of land in the countryside. As an educated single woman who was orphaned as a child, she's an outsider. After many generations, the village elders change how ownership of land is defined, and Star must figure out how to claim her land. Now, Star's quest to keep her home takes her on an unexpected journey that is wildly entertaining to experience. It's also very touching. I spoke with the writer-director Vincho Nchogu early this week via Zoom about the film, her creative process, and how she crafted this gem of a story. So sit back, relax, and listen to my interview with writer-director Vincho Nchogu. This film is incredible. First, I just want to say thank you for this film. It was my favorite of Tribeca, and I, on Rotten Tomatoes, gave it all the stars. One of the things that I appreciated about it was its treatment of single child-free women. Sarah, right? No, Star, who's played by Sarah, is incredible. Talk to me more about the inspiration of making her this child-free woman just fighting for her land.
Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for the 5 stars or all the stars that you gave us on Rotten Tomatoes. It was really, really good to read your review. I think it's one of the strongest reviews of my film, but also of any film that I've read this year. And I've been to so many festivals with this film. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
Truly appreciate it. In making, first of all, my life is similar to Star in a way. It's not a biopic.
That's why I liked it too.
Exactly. I'm a single woman of a certain age with no child free, but also my father died in 2019. So also no father. Oh,
yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah. Likewise, something.
Yeah. So I just, this question of women being defined by a lot of times who they're married to or their children, right? And sometimes who their father is, but more and more who they're married to, their children, but also what they're doing. And I just wanted to make a film of a woman wanting to be accepted and acknowledged for just being, for who she is. And she doesn't need to qualify who she is to be loved and accepted into a community. So, because also I come from a community that actually by far largely accepts and treats women as individuals with agency and let them be if they don't have children and all that with no pressure. But I have friends who are my age who come from communities that put them under pressure. And what I thought was normal on my end turned out to be it's actually my village is the anomaly. And partly because I have aunties who are my mother's age who are unmarried with no children. So luckily for us, for my generation, we had those aunties and they, I guess, taught the village on how to treat women like us. But speaking to my other friends in Kenya, in the US, anywhere,
Yeah.
they're just like this thing always comes up, and they are fed this line so many times that as women they start wanting or thinking they should be wanting to be married, to have kids,
Yeah.
and not really tracing where this desire is coming from, or if it's truly a desire, because some women truly do desire to have that, or if it's like, I want to satisfy the expectations of community. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and in this film, One Woman, One Bra, you go even further as to, you know, this structure of having them change the rules around her ownership of the land. Uh, it's not giving too much away, but this premise of it is there's a change in the village, and you have to know your lineage, and Star doesn't know her lineage. And you have to know your lineage and or be married in order to maintain your land.
Hmm.
Is this based on something that actually happens in Kenya and in West Africa in general?
Hmm. So, first of all, Kenya is one of the progressive African countries, I
Yes.
think, because women can own land in Kenya. But the land that we are talking about is communal land. So communal land is land that has been owned by the community for since pre-colonial Kenya.
And so this is like the Maasai we're
The
talking about. Okay.
Maasai,
Yeah. In this
some,
film.
yeah, Samburu, a lot
Hmm.
of like African tribes like communally own land.
Right.
But it's very hard to buy this land because everybody in the community has to co-sign. So what the government is doing, or people who want to buy this land, are advocating for individual ownership, because then it's one to one.
Oof.
And this community where we filmed, luckily for us, I went there and I was like, I'm making this film. I was writing it in New York. This is my imagination. Remember when land was communally owned and suddenly title deeds were coming? So I was writing in that time period. They were like, what time period? We are literally going through that right now.
Ooh, child.
They were like, we like literally the government surveyors are coming this week to demarcate the land. And then, so then I started having conversations with them like, how then do you prove your ownership? Are women getting this land? And it was like, if your father is from here, you'll get land. If you're married here, obviously, you'll get land through your husband. And then I was like, what if you're not Maasai, but you've lived here long enough? They're like, if you have children, you will get land. So then it just kind of like built on something that I was thinking of in New York, thinking like, oh, this is a bygone era, but then like
Hmm.
ending
It's
up in a community that's like facing, very much facing, about to subdivide their land.
Well, and the fascinating other part of this film that really touched me was particularly like in American Black communities. And I saw that you went to Columbia, lived in Harlem, and you're in Brooklyn, and we've switched. I love Brooklyn. Now
Mhm.
I'm in Harlem. There's this whole thing about the Black community. And as someone who grew up outside of the norms of the Black community, um, I really connected to Star because in this Black community, she is the outsider. And you
Mhm.
would think that these Maasai women would welcome her, but they're constantly, and it's she is ostracized for being the one. So talk to me a little bit more about that dynamic, and it's funny, but it's also so brutal.
Mhm.
It's
I think
like
I totally, people were like, do you not want us to like? I was like, no, 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 no.
it's the truth
It's
though.
the truth. And it's also like when I wrote this women, they were like much more endearing and understanding and wanting all like power to the people, women, feminine. It was like a really like a love story to like women power and friendships and all this. And I got there and I was pitching the film because we filmed with a community that's not professional filmmakers. So they were not reading scripts. They were just like, tell us the story beginning to end. And I told them the story. And And I was like, but you guys are like trying to like advocate for her. You're on her side. It's just the men. And they were like,
What?
no, where do you live? It doesn't work like that.
That's funny.
And it's so crazy because audiences all over have been like, why would you write these women like this? You're a woman. I'm like, I did not write them like this. I workshopped the script. And
Uh-huh.
they say that she has freedom to go and come as she wishes.
Yeah.
She has an education. She
Yep.
probably thinks she's better than us. I was like, maybe she doesn't. They're like, we don't know what she's thinking. We're assuming that she thinks she's better than us. And for that reason, no, we want what she has. And this is the one time we can show her, but maybe we are better than you
Damn it.
in
That
this way.
I
Mhm.
fucking I love forgive my
No, no,
I
no. It's
I
okay.
loved that aspect of it because you never see that truth coming through. So that's fascinating. So that's what they came up with. So you just went with the
And it's in listen because they are not, and this is, I think, the beauty of it is because they're not professional actors. I
yeah.
wanted them to believe the role that they're playing.
Yeah.
So if I had dictated like be nice, it would have shown on screen
Been fake. Yeah.
that they're
Just
yeah
go
they're
with your natural impulses.
and I was like
When they're all in a is it are they doing each other's hair or something,
yeah.
and they're just like I was just thinking of like my parents, my mother passed, but of her lifetime was always on the phone with her friends. She was a very
Mhm.
churchy woman, but she was like they were brutal. They were,
Mhm.
and so if you are not in the community,
Yeah.
you're not protected. And Star had this freedom. She had this motorcycle. She had her little business. Forgive me, excuse
Bless you.
me. I have too many fans going. Um, because I am of your mother's age. But the community, there was a sense of like jealousy that
Mhm.
that never and it I actually loved that part of it that it didn't it was real, and in our world today online we see that type of personality. The
Mhm.
other thing that I really enjoyed was that everything that she did, that she kept trying, and then the unintended circumstances were so hot in this.
Right.
How did you, when you were crafting the script, since it was were you thinking of going in different directions and continually, like, what was your process of making those side streets?
So it was first of all, this script was I was just telling someone that I saw as a thesis on
Mm,
colonialism or like
hmm
what being colonized did to us as a
mm,
continent. And we think that we are no longer colonized, but like we inherited the education system, the health system, the food system, which obviously was not meant for us, but our countries are sticking to this, and it's very, very detrimental to Black people, like not just in
yeah,
Africa, but the diaspora.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
we need to
And the
redefine.
land.
Exactly. We need to
Yeah,
redefine how we deal with our health, educate ourselves. And I think it's James Baldwin who said, like, the more you learn, the more you understand that you want to dismantle the education system. So the more
yeah,
educated you are, the more anti the education
yeah,
system you
yeah,
become.
yeah, yeah,
And so initially I was like, I'm gonna just show people like one individual can be so affected by colonialism in 2026 Africa in ways that we don't stop to think about. And the land issue became a big deal because, I mean, Africa, there was being fought for Congolese mines, which are on land, you know, the Queen and Country, everything
yeah,
that they came to Africa for was to steal our land from us, to take us from our land, to
yeah,
disconnect us from the land. So land is very, very important in colonial struggle, but also like even like in Kenya, fight for independence, it was actually the direct translation is like fighting for our land.
Mm,
And it's just like once we have our land, we have freedom. And it's
yeah.
and so it started from there. And I was like, how can I then have these threads of, again, patriarchy is not an African concept.
Mm,
They make it look like it's an African concept. It was never like
mm,
most African systems, and I've been lucky enough to like travel in Zambia and Nigeria. It's people like the mothers, how people look up to their mothers
yeah.
and talk about their mothers and protect their mothers. In fact, the biggest insult, even here within the African American community, is like you insult someone's mother, because
Yeah.
that's how you get to the heart of their, like, if you want to hurt me the most, you insult my mother, not my father,
Yeah.
not my grandfather. You go for my
Yeah.
mother.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, how do we talk about the systems of patriarchy and how women, we like help perpetuate the patriarchy. So it was just like, and it's like it's gonna come down to the land and how all these things are like stopping her from
Yeah. But
staying.
I don't know if you remember the show MacGyver. It,
Yeah.
she's like a MacGyver who is like, when they put an obstacle, she's like, I'm keeping my land.
Right.
I have my
Right.
view. I can drink my tea. I go out on my site. I come back. I sell things. I got my little garden. I was
Right.
like, girl, yes. I'm like, she's happy and she did not want a man. There was a man out there,
Hmm.
y'all, and she was like, no, like she could have made this choice. And for all of us who are making those choices, I just felt, but it was just like she was so smart
Hmm.
and everything she did went sideways. And the
All the
women were a
time.
part of that. And so I was just thinking, as you were writing the script, were you thinking, okay, I'm going to write this as a go, and then I'm going to write this obstacle, and then I'm going to write this as a go? Or did it just come organically
It really did come organically. Like I just told you, like the women
with the
being
women were one? Yeah.
anti-feminist. Like it came from like just having conversations with them and just
Yeah.
being like, I'm coming to your community to make this story. What do you think? Like, and being
Okay.
open to their suggestions and treating them as collaborators. And then it ends
Yeah.
up being like, okay, so they're not going to even help, because the ending of
Really?
the film was supposed to be like, exactly. The ending of the film was supposed to be like, all the women claim her and they're like, she's my daughter, she's my daughter, she's my daughter. Like the
Yeah. But
Spartacus.
don't give away
Right?
the end though, because I want
Yeah.
people to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I should,
Wow.
yeah. So it was a way different ending, much like,
Yeah.
and then,
Much like real life. Because I
yeah.
feel like there's a grief too, because she's grieving. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're grieving, there's people aren't there. Like
Yeah.
there's a point where people, like the expectation is my community will enfold.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so realistic because it doesn't always
Mm-hmm.
happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
The other
Mm-hmm.
layer of it in I have so many questions. I wish we had more time. Is the ripple effect. You talked a little bit about imperialism, colonization, all of that. That's the other layer of the one woman, one bra
Mm-hmm.
of it all. And how particularly I learned something with the NGOs
Mm-hmm.
and the white savior complex. Can you talk a little more? Was that coming from the women as well, or how did that
No,
fold
no.
in?
So I started my career as a filmmaker making the type of films that's like she makes in the NGO type,
Ah, yeah,
because
yeah,
most African filmmakers, like there are not that many grants or even funding to make
yeah.
films. So a lot of us are just making NGO films, and actually they are propaganda films. The job of those films is to help Americans feel sorry for Africans and give some money, donate
Hmm.
to the cause. So I started there, but also like I was going into schools, talking to school children and being like, what do you want to be when you grow up? When I was young, I had dreams. First, I wanted to be a lawyer, then I wanted to be a
Yeah.
writer, and then I had it kept changing, but it was an actual profession. And then when I was going to schools as an adult, and kids are like, I want to work for an NGO. And I'm like, what does that mean to work for an NGO though? Like,
Yeah.
it, and then I realized like these people, they're driving in Africa with big cars, helping people, but they're also taking our agency from us. Like people are not thinking to solve their own problems because somebody will come and be like, you need this, I'm giving you the thing that you need. And
Mm,
for because we are eliminating, I think every human being needs to think.
yeah.
And of course, if you're poor, it's harder to think. But if you solve one problem, it's going to be easier to solve the next. And
Mm,
then if you solve that problem in ways that meet your needs, then you're going to become really good at problem solving. And
mm,
what the NGOs do in Africa is take away that uh, solution, because they're like, what we are providing a solution. and
mm,
and sometimes it comes from a good place, but other times it's like, you are giving us this thing that we don't need, that we never asked for, but
yeah.
we don't. And Africans don't want to be ungrateful, so they take the thing, and then
Mm,
it's building up, but then they're not. You're even taking away the time to think about the problems that we actually have and how to solve them.
yeah.
So there's
It,
there's a
uh,
lot of that, but I see it everywhere. I see
yeah.
it in the US. I see it
Yeah.
like, I see when people like in marginalized communities, when they're like proscribed a solution, and
Yep.
like, I
It
guess,
comes from people just who don't know anything about it. I always think
exactly.
of one of my favorite books is The Poisonwood Bible by Barbara
Mm,
Kingsolver. Did you ever read that one?
mm-mm.
I mean,
But I
it's dated.
should.
I read it many years ago. But it's about these missionaries who go to an African
Hmm.
village, and everything that they give them is something that they don't need. And it's like the river that they want them to swim in, there's alligators, where they want to baptize them, which is like, and this is written by a white woman. So
Oh my
uh
God, I'm gonna read it.
I mean, I have to revisit it because it's been many years. So it may be problematic, but I just always remember that as something being like how people come in who don't know and
Hmm.
continue. So we are down to our last like 4 minutes,
It's
and
okay.
I wish we had more
You
time.
have 5 more minutes. You have 5 more minutes.
Well, this one is a lovely question that I ask of everyone. What about this project gave you the most joy?
The collaborative process of it, to be honest, I love every single person. Like, even the problem, we only had two problematic people on this set, and even them, I still love them, because everybody gave their all. We were filming in the middle of nowhere. People were like sleeping in tents and being rained on. But the village showed up every day for us. Like some night scenes that we shot overnight. The women, the women in that village actually run the village. They have to wake up, take the cows for milking, take their kids for school, prepare their business for the day, like that makes them money, and then come. So they have a full day. And when we were filming overnight, I remember saying to the women, like, we can break it, we can shoot like until midnight, and you guys go, and then tomorrow. And they were like, no, 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 we want this to be good. You take the time that you need, we give you the time. And their husbands, their men were equally supportive. So many times, like, our car was broke down, and solutions were coming from everybody. Like, everybody on this film was really the most joy, like, for me, came from
Mhm.
the people that I worked with, from my cast, from my crew, from the community. Every single person that I interacted with on this journey, actually,
Yeah.
I'm grateful to. And there are a lot of them,
Yeah.
and I just want to say that people are generous with their time, but with also their knowledge. I had experienced cinematographer, production designer, my HMU.
Stunning.
He,
Stunning.
I mean, he shot Beyonce's Black is King. So
Stunning.
my composer Enrique, like every single person, if I had to pay them what they're actually like supposed to be paid, I I would still be owing
But
them.
this is your first feature, and this is like this was amazing. And so the women were acting. They didn't even know it because they
Yeah.
showed in real life the community. And I think
Yeah.
for the intuition for non-actors is to go with the drama and that, no, I wouldn't do this. But when the
Right.
chips were down, they were there for you.
Yeah, no. And also the funniest thing is that every time they were like screaming at my lead, they would feel so sorry and they would go and be like, I'd be like, we are so sorry. But
They
like
know.
they know. And also like Sarah, who plays the lead, actually was
Sarah.
really, really good. She's so good because she's the opposite of Star. Like,
Yeah.
she's married, she has kids, she has a wonderful husband, and she just brought in her
She was
everything.
incredible though. It just shows that we as women are we we have as Black women so much
So
empathy, so much compassion. We can step into these different roles and be understanding.
I mean,
And
she
it's
surprised me. I was like, she's so good, Sarah. Like, I was just like, wow.
she was phenomenal. I see a lot of films
Hmm.
at festivals about, and I try and center Black people. So I see a lot of African films because they love to center Africa and they love to center white people's versions of Africa and
Mm-hmm.
white people's versions of traumatic Africa.
Yes.
So I was happy that there was no person that was African who was running from something or was trying to swim somewhere or was riding a bike trying to like run from the police and deliver food.
Right.
So thank you for showing a story
Right.
that humanizes. And yeah, thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Like, we need more time, but we'll
We need
chat.
more time. Let's give a
So,
smile for the camera. Yay. And I'm going to turn this off and y'all, we're going to talk a little bit more.
yeah.
Isn't that Vincho incredible? Ugh, what a talent. Now, I'm recording this podcast on Thursday, August 6th, and Vincho and I spoke just before she left for Martha's Vineyard. Now, was she going to Martha's Vineyard for? It's to show One Woman, One Bra at the Martha's Vineyard African American Film Festival, which runs August 7th through August 15th, 2026. The film hasn't been picked up yet, but if you are Martha's Vineyard for the film festival, you may be able to grab tickets. Thanks and good luck to Vincho Nchogu and the entire team of One Woman, One Bra. I hope this film gets distribution and you get to see this magnificent work of art. VisAbleBlackwoman, the podcast, is available for everyone to hear without a paywall because I want as many people as possible to know about work like One Woman, One Bra. If you love what you hear and would like to support this podcast, please subscribe to my VisAbleBlackwoman on Patreon, Substack, or my VisAbleBlackwoman blog on Medium, which is connected to Rotten Tomatoes. And yes, I am a certified Rotten Tomatoes critic. VisAbleBlackwoman, the podcast, was written and directed, produced and edited, and hosted by me, Janine T. Abraham. As you can tell by all of the mistakes, I am an actual human being, not AI. You can find VisAbleBlackwoman on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Substack, Medium, and on Instagram. Thanks again for listening, and I'll see you soon.